Hello, my beautiful souls. I was in meditation this morning with my Expander membership community, and I received this really powerful vision from the future that I knew I needed to come on here and share with you. One of the main things that a lot of people really struggle with right now in this world is that there's just a lot of confusion. There's a lot of confusion about what's going on, how it all correlates, what's the other side, what does it all mean, what are all the moving pieces. There's a lot of confusion, right? I think we can all agree with that. And when I was in this meditation, that was all about raising my energy and vibration out of the state of being that I'm currently in and plugging into a higher timeline. I received this vision of the fairy tale, The Three Billy Goats Gruff. And what was really powerful about this is when you think of the story, The Three Billy Goats Gruff, ultimately the message is that it's about a family who is trying to cross the bridge to greener pastures. Unfortunately, under this bridge is a troll, and it represents the density and the destruction and the deception of life. And so the troll continues to try and deceive the three billy goats as each one individually crosses through the bridge, and each one carries their own instinctual response. You know, one wants to charge it, one wants to deceive it itself, one wants to, I don't fully remember the story, but they all have a different method in which they want to try and get across or get beyond this troll individually. Okay, so it's representation of how each one of us uniquely carries a code, a method, a way, a perception that is impactful in the right circumstances. And so as each one tries on itself to get beyond the troll, and the troll uses its tactics of deception and force and enforcement and all the things to stop them in their tracks, what they ultimately start to realize is that together they are stronger, unified, and that together, when working together and putting their minds and their hearts and their gift together, they are able to overthrow this troll and get to the greener pastures on the other side. And when I received this message, I just had chills down my spine because it's very much representing what we're experiencing right now. We're all individually trying to navigate, well, if I go and I find a way to close this business, or if I go and I stand at this protest, or if I go and I take on this lawsuit, or if I go, and these things are all important. These things are all important. We all possess an individual quality and gift that is contributing to a bigger picture. But what we're missing within that is the importance of community. Because when the three billy goats band together, they're able to overthrow the troll, which is representation of chaos and destruction, enforcement and deception. And we're all to some degree, it doesn't matter who you are, we're all to some degree facing a level of deception. And that might even be in your own limited perception. If you feel blocked or stuck or limited in your life right now, there's a level of deception in your perception in which you are operating from right now. And the media and the government and the forces that be represent that troll under the bridge. It's not a question of whether or not there's greener pastures on the other side of the world right now. There absolutely is. And a lot of people have already come to find that in their lives because of their willingness to look at the deception that exists within themselves and in their external reality. But where we really get to see the profound shifts and quantum leaps and jumps in humanity, if you will, the shortening of how long it's going to take to cross that bridge, or the time frame of how long it's going to take for humanity to cross that bridge, is dependent upon our willingness to come together as one and put our gifts and ourselves and our courage and our strength together to overthrow, to walk past, to heal, and to learn that the deception and the densities might even be the trauma that's holding you back from really stepping up and helping out and contributing and connecting with other people at this time. Our ability to do this together will be so much more profound and impactful if we're willing to put down the shields and the swords and the armors against those in our lives who see differently from us, right? I'm on the side of the narrative where I don't believe in almost everything going on, right? But that doesn't mean that the people on the other side of that don't have something important to share, or that they have equally learned, or that they're moving through right now. There's truth in everything. So when I received this vision of the direction that we're all leading to in the future, it's not a question of whether or not there's a greener grass on the other side of this. There absolutely is. And a lot of people, a lot of light workers, a lot of spiritual leaders who are genuinely rooted in a godlike presence, energy source that is all about mercy, just, everlasting love, and dedication and commitment, right? They're helping. They're crossing back over that bridge. They've already found the greener pastures. I truly can say that I have found greener pastures in my life, because what happens in the world right now does not affect me. I can't get on a plane? That's okay. I'm not concerned about that. I can't go into restaurants? That's okay. I get to save a lot of money in the interim. I might not be able to go in certain stores. That's okay. They don't need my business right now. Right? And I get to make peace with that, and I have. Right? And that's not to say you need to be there either, but I know what it's like to feel the greener pastures in my life. Even though my husband had a heart attack last week, which was a miracle in of itself. And so I could see that because I operate from a space of gratitude and inner peace and self-dedication and accountability, right? And so I take into my energy the importance of crossing back through that bridge to come to the world where I get to help people to find that within themselves. I get to help them find that inner peace and strength within themselves so that they can walk themselves over that bridge. And then come back and bring more people through to the other side of greener pastures, right? That troll under the bridge, the deception in our world, it only exists if you allow it to exist. It really, truly does. And that might mean that you're subjected to making some really big shifts and changes in your life, in your lifestyle. But what it's leading you back to is finding wholeness within yourself. It really, truly is. And this vision of the three Billy Goat Gruffs, I think that's how it is all about leaning on each other. We all have gifts. We are all so vitally important. Even the people who don't agree with you, that's okay. They were never supposed to. Here's the thing. The people who don't agree with you and don't see the same things that you do right now, they were never supposed to. That's a part of helping you find deeper levels of inner peace and self-acceptance. My mother-in-law sees a completely different reality, even though she's having some serious complications and adverse effects from her decisions. But that's okay because she's mirroring to me where I get to have more love and compassion. She's mirroring to me where I really get to lean into what's important for me to understand and to know and how to hold conversations in a more meaningful and profound way. She's not supposed to share the same point of view as me. And a multitude of other people, right? Everybody in our lives right now is contributing to helping us individually grow more internally confident and connected so that we can create the ripple effect of change to hopefully equally mirror for others where they get to go within and find a deeper level of understanding and look to the mirrors in their lives right now. This vision of the future is about us banding together, setting our differences and our difference of opinions aside, because there's truth in everything. There really, truly is. So much so that it formulates a person's entire reality. There has to be truth in that, right? The troll under the bridge is representing the chaos and the deception in the world. And the sooner and the more willing you are to lean within yourself, to be accountable for yourself, to be accountable for your thoughts, to be accountable for your energy, to be accountable for your actions or reactions, is going to determine how long it takes you to cross that bridge to those greener pastures. We all have this in us. And the future is so bright. And it is full of rebuilding our systems are dismantling, and they're going to continue to dismantle for another year or two at least. At least. So this stuff doesn't go away anytime soon. Unless you decide today that you are going to be a part of the change, you're going to be a part of the solution, and you really hold yourself accountable to looking at where deception lies within your life. And if you want a really good place to start, where are you triggered? What environments or circumstances or situations or conversations do you have throughout your day that get you really angry? Anger, the opposing side of anger is passion. But if you're plugged into anger so much so, and not able to step back and see where passion might be coming through in that space, you're controlled by your thoughts and a narrative. So look to the environments, the conversations, and the people around you. I'm not saying that this doesn't require boundaries if boundaries are needed. That is your responsibility to uphold. But what I am saying is really look at the people, the places, the environments where you're really triggered right now, and ask yourself, where do I get to have a deeper level of compassion? Where do I get to look into where a wound might exist here? Where do I get to step back and decide and choose what I want to experience and to move through with this? Because happiness is free. Happiness is free. Contentment is free. Compassion is free. Love is free. And in the vision that I received of us being the representation, humanity being the representation of the billy goat's gruff, and the troll under the bridge being the representation of chaos and deception, the government, the media, the corporations in this world, we are so much stronger together. But it takes each one of us stepping up in our lives and saying, you know what? I'm going to do a little bit better than I did today. Where can I really be accountable or look to myself as to how I'm navigating conversations I'm choosing, reactions that I'm having, habits that I'm partaking in, thoughts, what thoughts are mine and what thoughts are someone else's? Have you asked yourself that question recently? What thoughts are yours and what thoughts are someone else's? And here's how you know. If you're unable to question a thought, then those thoughts are controlling you. Right? I can look at the narrative that I believe in and that I follow with, and I can step back and I can say, okay, what's my part in that? How much of that is really important to me? How much do I really need to learn and educate myself about this? And what do I get to do with this information? But if I can't question those thoughts, if I can't question that very narrative that I choose to follow, life is a story. Your reality is a story. Your world is a story. It's all a story. A story of how you got here, of what you went through, of who's in it, who partakes in it, the conversations you have, the things that you choose, the things that you like, the things that you eat, so on and so forth. We live in a world of narratives. That's why there's infinite possibilities of what can exist simultaneously at the same time, and multidimensionalism and parallel realities and quantum leaping and manifestation, right? It's because we live in a world of stories, individually and collectively. And when you can step back and you can start questioning those thoughts, questioning those stories, questioning those realities, that's where you're really taking control of the experience that you're in. That's where you're really finding yourself beyond what you're experiencing and what you're living in. So where does deception exist in your life? Where are thoughts or narratives controlling your ability to not be able to lead with compassion, not be able to lead with love, not be able to lead with self-acceptance or even self-forgiveness or forgiveness as a whole? Because the future is so beautiful. And yes, we have some hard times ahead. But that green grass on the other side doesn't need to exist in a year or 2 years when our children aren't being indoctrinated in schools and when our government's not enforcing us illegally to do things and so on and so forth. That can exist right now for you. So I wanted to leave you with that today because it was something that came through so profoundly, so beautifully, and just such a representation of our world right now. Your green grass, it exists an hour away. That bridge for you to get there could be about an hour away. And that might be a 30-minute meditation of tuning out of your current state of being and environment and plugging into a higher timeline, energy, frequency, and existence, like what we did this morning in the Expounder membership community. It all exists for you. Everything. It all exists. You just have to be willing to step back and really reflect on what changes and lifestyles may be relevant or needed for you to be able to achieve that. But it exists. Me and my husband, we decided to move into our RV trailer for a year and a half, maybe 2 years, maybe a year. We don't know. We've been here for 6 months so far. We're going to take on the winter in it because we decided that we wanted to be able to be as connected to nature for ourselves and our kids as possible. We wanted to shorten the time frame of how long it takes us to get out of the debt that we're in and be able to condense that in 12 months or less. It'll probably take us 6 or 7 months to do so. And that required big drastic changes. We lived on an acreage with 5 acres to be able to just roam about in a 1,500 square foot house, and it was wonderful. But our lifestyle we knew needed to change, and in order for it to change, we got to make different decisions. And so we did this. And it's been so much better than we could ever imagine. We got rid of almost everything we owned, to the degree of what can fit in my office and what can fit in the trailer, and a little bit of the kid's stuff and his tools for the barn. And it was so alleviating. And I'm not saying that has to be your truth. But if you're in the world where you're struggling to keep up with bills and payments right now, what kind of experience do you want to live? We are staying in Canada. The borders are closed to drive through. And you can only now fly if you have a shot and wear a mask. And so I refuse to. My husband is exempt, and neither of us are going to be partaking in any of this experimental gene therapy. So and again, you may hold a different point of view, and that's okay, right? We all contribute to this in such a big, beautiful way, right? So Canada is where we're going to stay, and we're just going to enjoy the shit out of where we already lived, right? And we're going to travel when we're able to travel. And if not, we can travel within our province with our truck, with our trailer, and we can make an adventure out of it. Wherever you're at, you can make an adventure out of your life. Green pastures exist. You just have to be willing to step back and question the thoughts that you have, the narratives in which you live, the deception that limits your perception, and see where you get to make those honest, genuine choices and changes. Ditto, girl. All right, I'm going to leave you with that today. Share this far and wide so that we can help everyone really question how to find greener pastures in their lives. And that's not limited to one perspective or narrative. That's multifaceted, just like our world and our reality. All right, I love you. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend, my fellow Canadians.